Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to Behind the Sofa. Oh, we're in front of the
Live.
sofa. In front of the sofa, live.
Yeah, we're never actually behind the sofa because that would be quite hard.
It would. And probably visually boring.
Yeah, because
all you'd have is a sofa.
Oh yeah, and the point of this is to see our reactions on episodes that we've watched recently or episodes that we've watched a long time ago and are re-reviewing on this very show. We think it's a bit more like a television show at the moment, and I know we're uploading the Under the Lake Before the Flood one, and we will
right now.
This is a bit of an update, so we're doing that. We will do an edited version of this in a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah.
We have a lodger behind the sofa that's coming soon.
Recorded, ready to roll.
But we haven't edited it yet.
No.
And we have plans for 2016 intros and outros and stuff. So, we've got a lot of things planned, but
that's then. Yeah. What's now?
Well, we are reviewing the Zygon Inversion.
Oh, sounds good.
So I'm going to give you a spoiler alert.
So, spoiler alert being.
Spoiler alert!
So if you haven't seen the Zygon Invasion or the Zygon Inversion,
go and watch it now because this is live.
And we may spoil things.
And we will spoil it. So sorry about the over the top things.
Do you want to give a bit of a usual rundown of what this story was about?
Yes. So the Zygons, a race of shape-shifting aliens, which personally one of our favourites, have been living among us in secret until now. When Osgood is captured, the Doctor, Clara, and Unit have to scatter across the world in a bid to set her free. But how can you stop a war? And what can the Doctor do to save the little friends he has left?
The thing is, actually, you get it as a writer. That immediately entices you in, doesn't it?
I wrote some of it.
Did you?
I made the end bit in.
Yeah.
Some bits I copied, like the beginning bit.
As you say, it's actually when this was broadcast, when the Zygon Invasion was broadcast, it was broadcast on Halloween, and it's got a real Halloween setting to it. And the Zygon Inversion was the day before Remembrance Sunday, and so, actually I think in itself that was very fitting as well when you take the themes of that episode.
And so we are going to do a little review. If you're watching this on an edited version, then it would have happened by then. But we are going to do a podcast on the Zygon Inversion. So we'll mainly be reviewing Zygon Invasion with a few little talks about Zygon Inversion and how good it was. But the main source of Zygon Inversion is on the podcast.
The other question we'll be posing you is that one of us sat here is a Zygon.
Can you guess which one?
We won't reveal it at the end of this programme.
We will reveal it at the beginning of next programme. But you must not watch that because it will be something... Which one of us is a
who knows?
Zygon? I know that it must be you.
It must be you.
No, it must be you.
Anyway, we will try not to give that away at any point during this broadcast.
It's me, by the way. No, it isn't actually. I don't know. So it's from season 9.
Okay.
We know that, the latest season.
Which Doctor is it?
It's Peter Capaldi, and he delivered some excellent moments, an excellent speech.
He did.
Excellent.
He did actually demonstrate his excellence-ness, didn't he, in this episode?
Excellence.
I mean, I think it's two parts, and as with all of the two-part stories that we've had in this series, and even if you include the Ashildere ones as well, They've
if
all,
that's a two-parter.
if it's a two-parter.
You can see our review on that
Yeah.
now. We should do a link for it on the edited
We should
version.
do, actually. We don't do that enough, do we?
We should do,
We
like,
should.
one there.
So they link up there.
Like, a link up there for the review of Girl Who Died and the Woman Who Lived. And a review down there of... no. It doesn't matter.
Because that puts the pressure on me, because I've got to learn how to do it.
No, it doesn't matter.
but the
Just a pretendy thing.
But the interesting thing about both the two-parters is that each of them have been very different of nature, haven't they? If you take it right from the start, Magician's Apprentice, which is familiar, both very different.
First part was very action-packed, going everywhere, doing everything. Very... And then the second part was very claustrophobic, being in one place all the time, basically, with the face-off between. And it's a very talky episode instead of very actiony. And
when you say that, actually, in many respects, Zygon Invasion and Zygon Inversion was quite similar in that respect, wasn't it? Because the first half was full of a lot of horror and suspense. The second half was very tense and serious.
Yes.
And with a lot of dialogue. And it worked really well.
It did. So, if the Peter Capaldi's the Doctor, then who is the companion?
Well, it would have to be Clara, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and Jenna Coleman, we have gave a spoiler alert, so spoilers! But she plays Bonnie in the story, which is a rogue Zygon.
Yeah.
In this story.
Yeah, so she's sort of got two parts, isn't she? And it's interesting.
Very interesting.
It's interesting to see Jenna play both parts, isn't it? Both playing the sweet, clean Clara and the slightly mad, I wouldn't trust her, oh no, she's going to shoot me, Bonnie. So, how many parts is this? What's the format?
So, it's a two-parter.
In season?
9.
Season 9.
Wait, that means 8, basically, because...
Yeah. So, so we normally ask ourselves a few questions around each of the episodes to get a feel for what we made of it, and then come the end of it, we then look at placing it into a chart of all the episodes we featured so far on Behind the Sofa. So should we start off with our standard questions?
Yes. So best baddie. Obviously we had the Zygons in the story, and weren't they superb?
It was great to see the Zygons back, wasn't it? Because I mean, the Zygons, I can remember from growing up in the 70s. I'm not sure. I probably didn't see the first Zygon story, Terror of the Zygons, first time round. I doubt. Or if I do, I would have been very, very little.
What was the first Doctor Who story you watched?
The first one I can remember is Legopolis, but I watched lots before that. But the reason I can remember that specific episode is because it was the final one with Tom Baker.
Yeah.
But I watched a lot before that. Where was I going with this?
You were talking something about. That's the problem about live episodes.
It is, isn't it? Because I can't remember where I was going with it. So we were talking about the Zygons. Yeah. So I always remembered Terror of the Zygons and how cool they were, and I think also because they were one of my favourite cards in the old Top Trumps pack.
Unlike the one with the Ogrons and someone else when they were mixed.
Is it Ogrons and the Sea Devils, isn't it?
When they were mixed up. I've got the cards somewhere. And you've got them.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've got them anymore.
I don't think I have, no.
But I've got them. I don't know where.
They definitely the wrong way round, weren't they?
Yeah, they were.
Which used to happen in Top Trumps quite often, actually.
Did it?
Yeah. So I remember them from that, and then obviously we saw them more recently in Day of the Doctor, although they were a fairly passive role in that, really, weren't they? They were there in the background of it, but they weren't essential to the story. They were sort of knitting it together. And actually, this acted as, in many ways, Day of the Doctor was a bit of a prologue to this.
Yeah.
To this story.
And I think the Zygon strand in definitely the Queen Elizabeth bit and everything. The Zygon strand in the Day of the Doctor isn't that strong. However, the episode is. So you do have some great Zygon moments. It's just that there's some of the Zygon strand lets it down.
Okay. So we agreed then about how called Zygons were. What about best bits in the episode?
Well,
Or episodes, I should say.
well, the main best bit, the standout best bit, is the Doctor's massive speech. You have no idea who's going to die. Speech.
Wouldn't it be great if you could actually do the whole of it? That'd be great, wouldn't it? Unfortunately, you haven't got the script in front of you, have you? So,
No,
so
I would.
So not possible.
We could do it in an episode.
But you're right, that was good. In fact, you could say, there'd be a very good argument for that being Peter Capaldi's best moment as the Doctor so far.
So far.
Because it was really strong.
Wonder if anything will beat that. Be hard, but
there's been a lot of really great face-offs, hasn't there, in this series?
I mean, as we were saying in the Under the Lake before the Flood review, that the Fisher King and the Doctor face-off is great, but the actual underusation is underusing it.
Underusation.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you think about it, in most of the stories, there's been a really great face-off. So you had the Doctor Davros, Doctor Fisher King, the Doctor Ashledear,
The Doctor,
the Doctor Bonnie,
Kate and Bonnie.
Kate. So each
the
episode.
Doctor Kate and Bonnie, and then you're saying the Doctor Bonnie and
Yeah,
Kate.
that's it. Because one of us is a Zygon, the other one isn't.
Which one?
Which one? We may reveal it at the end of the episode.
Look.
I'll tell you the other bit I really loved in it. I really loved the sequence. Again, it was in the Zygon inversion when the guy got outed.
We call it the caught in transformation moment.
And he basically just wanted to live in peace as a human. He was quite happy with that. And obviously the Zygons, or the small number of Zygons that were trying to take over the Earth, didn't want that.
No, you carry on.
And so basically, you saw this one. He ended up committing suicide, didn't he? Because he couldn't cope with being ousted into this world where everybody was going to be hostile to the Zygons.
It shows aliens aren't always bad. It shows you can trust them sometimes. Very rarely, but sometimes you can find monsters and creatures out there that are great to you.
Yeah, so aliens, you can invite them around for tea, and most of them will be fine. Only a small number will want to eat you. But the other interesting thing about across the whole of both these stories was there were a lot of political edges to it, wasn't there? A lot of links to what's happening at the moment in Syria.
The terrorists.
Yeah.
And everything.
So, and it was really well done, wasn't it? Because it was fairly evident throughout both stories.
A lot of political themes.
But it didn't feel like it was shoving it in your face. It was basically very sensitively done, I felt. So, I'll tell you another thing that's worth talking about in terms of best bits. The cliffhanger from the first.
Great cliffhanger.
Did you want to sort of say a bit about what it was? Yeah.
Well, there was Clara reveal as Bonnie. The explanation between that. She killed Jack. Then she had a massive bazooka and she shot the plane where the Doctor and Osgood were in.
So that's what we basically had, didn't we? We had the Clara that many of us, maybe not you, Clip Vlogs, because you guessed it, but many of us thought was actually Clara, was in fact.
Well, she tied her hair back. It's just a clue. It's evident as the political.
Is that how you can tell whether someone's a Zygon or not? To tie their hair back? I don't know.
I don't have anything to tie back, so I'm not a Zygon.
Yeah.
You
Maybe
must be
that's
a Zygon.
One of us may be a Zygon. So, and another bit that's worth mentioning is the very opening sequence, right at the beginning, where it harks back to A Day of the Doctor.
Yes,
And
A Day of the Doctor.
Is it A Day? The Day of the Doctor, where it gave a bit of a
brief flashback. flashback.
A brief flashback which explained why the Zygons were hiding in human skins in peace anyway. And also, you got to see both Osgoods, didn't you? You had the human Osgood and the Zygon Osgood. And of course, one of them since then, if we go back to Dark Water, Death in Heaven, one of them was executed
And
by Missy.
we will review that in like 34 episodes time.
But we still don't. We're still not 100% clear, are we? Which one, whether Osgood Zygon died or Osgood human died.
So, those were the best bits. What were the worst bits?
I think. Whilst I thought the speech bit was fantastic, it was. I'm not completely convinced that Bonnie Zygon would have turned quite as good. Whilst I could see how she would decide not to press the button and detonate, I don't think she would turn so good that she would turn into the other Osgood. I struggle with that a little bit.
And I struggle with the bit when they have 40 times.
You see, I like that bit because I like the whole idea that there were a number that what you're seeing is a snapshot in time, and they've gone through that process a number of times previously, and they come up with different resolutions.
I didn't really notice it, but
I didn't notice it when we were watching actually. But
okay.
I'll tell you another thing I wasn't too keen on.
Yeah.
I wasn't too keen on.
You're a Zygon.
The Zygon electricity powers.
You're a Zygon.
I don't know. I'd rather they just went or something like that. I can't remember what did they do in Terror Zygon. What was it?
I can't remember. I haven't watched Terror Zygon.
But it wasn't. Was it? It wasn't electricity.
It wasn't.
My eye.
Which one of us? We're both electrocuted.
And we were both Zygons.
So best supportive cast. Well, we have to say Ingrid Oliver, who played Osgood.
Very good. Both of them. All three of them.
Rebecca Front as Walsh, who was very underused, in my opinion.
She was only in the first part, wasn't she?
Where did she go?
We don't really know what happened to her, but maybe she'll come back in another episode.
And Gemma Redgrave, who returns as the Brigadier's daughter, Kate.
Yeah.
So we had some great new and old characters in this story.
Yeah, I would say Osgood probably was the best.
Yeah, Osgood. So, best part. I know we differ on this.
We do differ. I struggle with a little bit with it. I think I still very, very slightly prefer the first part, but it's very, very close because they were really, really great stories. And it's a rare occasion where the second part didn't disappoint.
Yes.
Because quite often in Doctor Who, the final part's not as good, is it?
No.
So I think that's the best one.
I think the second part, but you know. So where do we place it in the leaderboard? Because in the edited version, the leaderboard will be on the screen. It's probably got more than it's got more than 10 on at the moment. So.
So
special powers. Only Zygons can do that.
We can. So obviously we can't flash it up for the live broadcast. But actually, as you can see, if you can see the table, it's
make sure you tune into the live.
It's actually sitting pretty.
Oh, she'll think we're bad.
Sitting pretty right at the top of the table.
Yes.
That's how much we like it.
Above the Magician's Apprentice, which is familiar. Can you believe that? Oh!
We loved it, didn't we? We really loved it. Really loved it. I mean, are we biased? I mean, we're both big lovers of the current incarnation of the Doctor.
Yes.
But we're also big lovers of classic Who. I think we agreed it's not the best ever episode of Doctor Who.
No, because Genesis is.
Yeah. So it can't be Genesis, and there's others that would still sit above it. But it's a brilliant, really well written story. Really good.
So, few videos coming up. You can watch Behind the Sofa live, not live, edited on Under the Lake Before the Flood now, and you can also watch our Doctor Who Time and Space review of
So I try not to reveal anything.
of the Zygon inversion. And probably some reviews of Sleep No More and maybe Face the Raven. And probably the Lodger. So make sure you stay tuned to the official Miss Lewis Being YouTube account.
Okay,
Right.
thank you very much for watching.
I'm going to. I'm definitely not the Zygon. I know I'm not. Oh no! Don't go after me.